Welcome to Victor, Colorado, also known as the City of Mines. Oh, I know why. Because of all the coal. Nope, more valuable. Well, if you squeeze coal tight enough, you get diamonds? Nope, think metal. Silver? Nope, but now you're warmer. Aluminum foil? Now you're cooler. Think yellow. Oh, duh. Yellow cake uranium. Now you're radioactive. All right, I give up. Gold. Gold? Ah. Ooh. At the tail end of the 1800s, gold was discovered in the hills just southwest of Pikes Peak. Fortune seekers came by the wagon load. Men paid top dollar for hot baths and flat surfaces just to sleep on. The rapidly expanding gold camp included a number of boom towns, and smack dab in the middle of all them veins of gold was Victor. Victor as in winner winner chicken dinner? Nope. Victor as in Victor Adams, one of the early inhabitants. The earliest? Nope. Those inhabitants were on the lookout for resources above the ground. They made use of the vegetation, sparse though it was, as well as the wild game. Oh, whoa, nice fun, gentle fun. What are they feeding you critters anyway? The early inhabitants included the Ute people, as well as the Arapaho and Cheyenne. Before the gold rush was on, I reckon they all come for the same reason. What reason's that? The spectacular scenery. Could be. So this Victor Adams. Was he a wild and woolly sharpshooting outlaw? Nope. As far as anyone knows, he was content to lead a quiet life as a hard-working rancher. I guess there's not a lot of glory in punching cows. But there sure enough is in punching other folks. What? Going around punching other folks ain't no way to make a living? It is if you're a boxer. One of the greatest there ever was used to call these parts his home. He fought one of his earliest fights right here in Victor. I bet he wasn't tough as all that. I could take him. Where is he, that lily-livered yellow coward? Mr. Dempsey, that's your cue. Jack Dempsey? Uh-huh. The Jack Dempsey? Yours truly. Mr. Dempsey, I'm your greatest fan. I'm flattered. Maybe you and me could go a round or two in the ring sometime. You could show me how it's done. If it weren't for my allergies, I'd take you up on that. Oh, what are you allergic to? He's allergic to pain and humiliation, mostly the former. I understand. Now, if you two gentlemen will excuse me, I have a train to catch. Of course. He was awfully baby-faced for a boxer. Are you sure he was a boxer? I don't know. Let's call him back so we can ask him. That's okay. I believe you. But about that train, does the train even stop here? More than one did in Victor's heyday. The first line to reach town was the narrow gauge, so called because its tracks were closer together than those of a standard gauge. It once winded its way up treacherous Phantom Canyon. Phantom Canyon? That's what they called it. But there weren't really no phantom, were there? That's just what they called it, right? Heck if I know. Why, you scared? No. What's that? Tree? Oh, yeah. What's that sound? The Arkansas River. We're almost to Florence. Firenze. Ciao bella. Buona Natale. Not Florence, Italy. Oh, of course not. The other Florence. Yes, the other Florence. Hold on a minute. Just what, according to you, is the other Florence? Florence of Arabia. That's Lawrence of Arabia, you ninny. He weren't no town. He was a British military officer who helped unite Arab tribes against Ottoman forces during World War I. How do you know all that? Same way anyone knows all that. It was meticulously documented by another one of Victor's favorite sons, Lowell Thomas. Lowell Thomas. Why does that name ring a bell? 'Cause it's blazooned all over town. Oh yeah. Who was he though? He was a globetrotter extraordinaire, prolific man of letters, beloved radio personality, and television pioneer. After visiting such places as Tibet, which was then closed to outsiders, he returned to his boyhood stomping grounds where he was given the key to the city. I'm glad they didn't give it to me. All I do with keys is lose 'em. Didn't this sprawling gold camp produce any favorite daughters? Well, there was Lowell's Sunday school teacher, Texas Guinan. Texas, that's a funny name for a gal, let alone a Sunday school teacher. During Prohibition, she was the notorious proprietress of several clandestine houses of libation. Speak English! Nope, speakeasies. Huh? Speakeasies. Secret saloons. You had to know the password. Oh. Rich city slickers used to track her down, just to pay exorbitant prices for watered-down cocktails. Oh, what a swanky joint. Anything for you, dollface. What's over here? Texas greeted each one of them with her signature catchphrase. Hello, sucker. If she'd been my Sunday school teacher, I'd have had perfect attendance. And speaking of Sunday schools, this town once had 6 churches, built by the God-fearing folks who were determined to make this town respectable. Did they succeed? Well, considering the multitude of saloons, gambling parlors, cigar stores, and other colorful establishments catering to a predominantly male clientele, I'd say they faced an uphill battle. Were those the only 2 ways to while away the hours? Churches and dens of depravity? Goodness, no. There was always the Gold Coin Club. It was built by Victor's founders, the Woods brothers, and it was the hub of the social scene. If a fella had a hankering, he could read a library book, roll a bowling ball down an alley, and complete a full regimen of calisthenics in the gymnasium. Wow, talk about multitasking! Not all at once. Oh. Under the roof of the Grand Opera House, there were grand shows. Bill Bailey, won't you please come home? My, what a low, sultry voice has she. Weather permitting, there were grand shows outdoors, too. There were parades, complete with marching bands. There were horse races, right down the middle of Victor Avenue. And this one time, why, there was even a bullfight, not far from here. Olé! Other outdoor events were, political in nature. In fact, Teddy Roosevelt made several campaign stops here. Did he receive a warm welcome? Almost. I got a mess of feathers. Is that tar warm enough yet? Almost. Yikes! And that wasn't even the worst of it. Several fiery rallies took place on both sides of the labor movement. The miners' union demanded fair treatment. Some miners just took what they figured was due to them by high grading. What's that? In a nutshell, embezzling gold. Oh, smart thinking. A lot of gold could fit in a nutshell. Between the miners and the bosses, who won out? Well, in the early skirmishes, the miners came out ahead. But then, with the help of a union-busting governor, the mine owners were able to have men arrested without cause and locked up in bullpens. They also succeeded in stamping out the freedom of the press, as well as the freedom to assemble. That doesn't sound very American. You might be right. Anyway, politics was a complicated and contentious issue here. That's nothing like the present day. I can't relate at all. Me neither. And speaking of hot-button issues like religion and politics, we haven't yet covered the Great Fire of 1899. How great was it? Several $1 million worth. Doesn't sound very great to me. There was a silver lining, though. Many of the crude and flimsy wooden structures that had served their purpose well enough in the early days were replaced by the stately stone and brick facades that you see today. At the turn of the century, Victor was one of the nation's most technologically advanced mining towns, complete with electric lights and even streetcar service. These days, it's a bit more like a ghost town. What happened? Well, World War I happened, not to mention its sequel. The price of gold fluctuated, and let's face it, some of the richest veins had just gone plumb bust. Then what's the future hold? Search me, I was going to ask you. Well, I reckon that aliens from outer space might just hitch their brutalist cube of a spaceship just beyond the heart of downtown and start vaporizing historic monuments in order to assimilate all carbon-based life forms into their vapid, soulless empire. No fooling? Oops. I was thinking of Cripple Creek. I see. Well, I reckon if I really put my mind to it, I'd say this town is ready for a revival. Giant trolls healing Mother Earth, quaint restaurants and curiosity shops, and a ghost story lurking in every nook and cranny. This one-horse town was always one of my favorite haunts. Hey, wasn't that Groucho Marx? The one and only. In the days of vaudeville, he found himself stranded in these parts. He had to haul groceries just to earn enough money to leave. I wish he'd stuck around a little while longer. Me too. But you know what? I'll bite what? I like to think that he's just like all the other eccentric characters who once alighted Victor's streets and darkened its doorways. They're all still hanging around, waiting for the next big boom to come along. Why, I think that's a right fine idea. A right fine idea indeed.